The National Agriculture Research and Development Institute (Narei) has begun the rollout of Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa's vision of a more dynamic role for the entity, one that would see an accelerated transfer of technology to Guyana's farmers through a more hands-on approach by extension officers. Newly appointed CEO of Narei, Mr. Jagnaran Singh, says the aim of the institute's refocused and re-energized efforts is to fast-track a path to import substitution.
The input substitution we have started. Remember, this is trial basis. Then you're going and the farms would grow, and then we'll take over the local sales market. I mentioned to you example ginger. Ginger, we used to import ginger. I remember a small bag of dried ginger coming in. It's very hard because it's processed. So we need to move further than the fresh ginger market now because I'm sure we have enough for the local consumption to a stage where we do a little bit of processing. Nari, this year in the budget we are buying some pieces of equipment to do some processing in region one of the ginger and the turmeric before it's being sold. Simple processing, washing, cleaning, drying, and then sell. Um, the idea of the growing crops and that you would target the local market and substitute the imported commodities. Um, Over time, by the time we reach a stage of self-sufficiency, we'll make sure that we will have perfect the entire process, the husbandry, the post-harvest, the packaging and everything. So by the time that stage, we are there, we will be geared up for the export market. To do this, to do all these things, you need to have some kind of training. And what I would have learned before, the pharmacy school, good methodology of getting farmers and looking at the agro ecosystem, measure them, and as you go along. And secondly, at the end of each of these growing phase of whatever commodity you're looking at the harvesting phase, you got exchange visits of farmers across the country coming to see what one is doing and what the other is doing. You know, what we would have found with rice is that during those exchange visits, farmers challenge each other. My field is better than yours, your field is better than mine. And this is what I am doing, that is what I am doing. And they shared their knowledge, what they would have done. While we have technological packages, we're trying also at each of these commodities, I am asking that we do some best practice right up. You get a best practice of growing broccoli, the best practice of growing cauliflower, the best practice of growing potatoes, onions, and those things. If they are written up properly, and you can share it to the farmers and make sure, I can tell you, the role of Narei has changed a bit because extension is now being played a very big part. We got an extension manager, we got a training manager, and each one of them is linked to the research scientist.
Over the past week, Narei has been hosting a number of workshops for farmers across the country, workshops that expose cash crop farmers to training in basic agronomic practices and managing various crops. These are expected to be intensified in the coming weeks and months. Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa has welcomed the start of these training programs, describing the initiative as crucial for the advancement of cash and other crops farming in Guyana.
What we have started, because over the years farmers have been planting in a routine manner, so to speak, and I have been lamenting this all over the country that we have been doing subsistence farming from the farm to the market. So we have to change those way of doing things. We have to change how we have been doing it. If we do it in the same old way, we'll get the same old result. As a result of that, we have to educate our farmers. We have to prepare them for the future, what we want to do. That is why in this year's budget, we have had a number of agro-processing facility that is earmarked to build around the country in Region 3, Region 10, Region 9, Region 6, all those areas we will have new agro-processing facility. If we are having these agro-processing facility, then farmers have to utilize it. Farmers have to make their produce more value-added. farmers have to ensure when they plant that they plant and reap in a way that is not only sustainable but they can export to other parts of the Caribbean. And that is why we are doing these kind of seminar to educate farmers in the proper way to plant, also to educate farmers to do climate smart agriculture, to prepare for climate change, and at the same time also to do value added, package their produce, take their produce to agro processing facility, and make it more value than to take it to the market. So what we are doing now is the way the Ministry of Agriculture should have done a long time ago. Now we are doing these things because we recognize the importance of the agriculture sector. We recognize that this sector has to provide us with food security. This sector is capable of bringing us wealth and at the same time create much needed job for us in the country. And we as a leading agricultural country in the Caribbean, we want to set the trend where our farmers will be playing a leading role in ensuring that we provide and get food security, not only for Guyana, but regionally in the Caribbean. So we'll be conducting many more seminars and workshops around the country. Our extension officers, they are more now prepared and more equipped to deliver these kinds of services to the farmers. And this will be a regular trend, not now only, but throughout the year. And there will be many more of these workshops in various remote parts of the country so that we can prepare our farmers.
Simultaneous to the rollout of the training workshops for farmers, Narei is also seeking to improve connectivity between its head office and various satellite stations in every region of the country.
We have our support system across the country. Narei has offices in every region of the country. We have sites where you can get your planting materials from Benab, Caironis, Pomerone, and you name it, they're there. One of the very first thing I would have found out is that for me to get data from those places, sometimes you may have to visit on a telephone call. I'm trying to, and at Narei we would have already purchased. It's already tender for 100 tablets, where I'm trying to get from the National Data Management Unit internet connectivity to all of these locations. So we can, from one location, see where what is happening because of the internet and technology. We're going to use technology to help. And in the same mode, while I'm doing that, the farmers in those catchment area, we have a list of farmers. We have a farmers register being created. They had up to yesterday to complete that list for me, the end of March. I hope I can get it to see where we are, telephone contacts, so we can be in contact with the farmer, and also the farmer can be in contact with us. A simple picture, if you got any problem, send it via internet and you get it immediately.
Farmers will soon have a 24-hour hotline to call in the event of an emergency. Narei is also working to heighten its social media profile, allowing farmers another avenue to communicate with the entity as well as with each other.